Just a little bit of background information about Linda. Linda has been using essential oils for over 6 years, but she has been interested in natural solutions for most of her life. She's an avid gardener, bird watcher, and overall nature lover. She lives in Stafford with her husband, 2 dogs, multiple cats, and wild feathered friends. Nancy has a degree in biology and has been working in the IT arena for over 20 years. Her passion is helping others see the beauty in nature and how it can be a positive influence in their lives. Nancy is a passionate essential oil wellness advocate and founder of Magdalena's Gardens. She's been an herbalist and an organic gardener for over 30 years. Nancy and her husband Mike share their little acre of paradise with their 3 giant breed dogs, a Great Dane and 2 Great Pyrenees mixes. They're bigger than she is. In her spare time, Nancy is an artist, a writer, dream worker, and a community volunteer extraordinaire. Nancy was our 35th Fredericksburg Food Co-op owner. She is a volunteer and member of the Fredericksburg CSA, the Regional Chamber of Commerce, and the Chamber's network of enterprising women. Nancy's previous professional life included administrative support for organizations dedicated to the environmental protection and social reform. So just a few things before we get started. If you have any questions this evening, if you could enter them in the chat box. And out of respect for our presenters and in an effort to avoid amplified background noise, if you could keep your audio muted throughout the presentation, that would be very helpful. And then as we get started here in a second for the best viewing, if you go to the upper right-hand corner of your screen with your cursor, you can click on speaker view. And I think that's it. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you Nancy and Linda. And Linda, you can take it away.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to welcome to everybody to Winter Wellness 101. And there we go. Thank you for joining us tonight. I hope that all of you that requested samples received them. If you didn't, please let us know in the chat and we will track them down for you. If you did receive samples, if you want to grab them, you can. And if you have your own oils, you can grab those. If you don't need oils to participate in this, it was just something that we sent out. So I know there's probably a good mix of folks here tonight that some of you are probably very experienced with essential oils, and I'm sure some of you are interested in trying them, but don't know a whole lot yet. So I hope everyone learned something tonight, and I hope you have fun. So first, I'd like to start with a little bit about the basics. First, what are essential oils? So they are the lipid soluble mixtures of violet aromatic compounds found in plants. They can be extracted from all parts of the plants, the leaves, the stems, the flowers, the roots, and even the fruit. Some say they are actually the essence of the plant. So, and to get the essential oils out of the plants, some form of distillation is used, and most of the time it is steam distillation. One really important fact about essential oils is that because they are lipid soluble, they can actually cross the cellular barrier, and they can affect things within the cells as well as the things that can attach to the cells. And if you look at the picture, you can see why that is really important. Second thing is, how do you use essential oils? Well, there's 3 basic ways. The first way is probably the way most people are used to using them, and that is aromatically. It's easiest to just inhale them. So you can put a drop in your hands and rub them together and just inhale. And I think Nancy is going to show you this in just a little bit. You can also add 4 to 8 drops of your favorite oil or combination of oils into a diffuser and use that to spread the scent throughout the room. The effect can be stimulating, calming, or soothing, depending on what oils you choose. The aromas can affect your mood, respiratory system, and even cleanse the air. The second way is topically. The second way is topically. You would use an oil topically if you wanted to use it for a specific purpose, like to help soothe a sore muscle or an itch or burn. You might hear people talk about applying an oil neat. That means there is no dilution. Some oils are safe to do this with. We always like to recommend that you use the carrier oil with your oils to dilute them so they are not as strong. Fractionated coconut oil is my favorite, but you can use almond oil, avocado oil, or even olive oil, whatever is your favorite. Diluting oils actually makes them easier for the body to absorb them and makes your bottle last longer. You always want to dilute for babies, elderly, and those with sensitive skin. And remember, a little goes a long way. 1 to 2 drops is usually all you need. So you would use these oil topically for localized benefits. Third way is internally. And now I say this with caution. Please make sure you're using only pure oils from a trusted source if you're going to ingest any oil. Not oils are created equally, and it's actually a pretty big problem in the industry. And I'll cover more on that in a minute. As long as you have pure oils from a trusted source, and those companies will normally add a supplement label on them if they are safe to ingest. So to ingest them, you can put them in a veggie cap with a carrier oil, add them to a glass, porcelain, or stainless steel water bottle. And essential oils will actually dissolve plastic. So you don't want to add them to your store-bought water bottle, like a Evian bottle or something like that. And I just put a couple drops in my water bottle, shake it up before I drink it, and it tastes great. So you can also use them sublingually, and that just means put a drop under your tongue. And please remember, some oils are considered hot oils, which means they are very strong. Oregano is a really good example of this. And a little story, one day I was grabbing my oils off the shelf, and I meant to grab I think I meant to grab frankincense to put under my tongue, and I grabbed oregano. It is really, really strong. It is really hot. And Nancy's also going to tell you a quick trick if you actually use an oil that's a little bit too strong. So she's going to touch on that in a little bit. But you just need to be careful. Pay attention to what your bottle says. So if you see, ingesting oils gives a systemic response. So there's aromatic, topically, and internally. So how can you choose an essential oil brand? A lot of them out there. There are a lot of them out there, and they're not all created equally. If you see a bottle of frankincense for $20, it's probably not pure. So please do some research and make sure that the oils that you choose are being tested. So there's no unwanted additives or contaminants. I think all the reputable companies give access to their testing data, and that's a really good thing to check out. There are outside groups that do random testing on oils, and you can find that information online if you want to dig even deeper. Purity is incredibly important. So if you want to get good, consistent results for your oil, just make sure that you're using oils that are tested and are pure. So I do want to add that for any health benefits that we go into tonight, I want to give the little FDA disclaimer here. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration, and the products are not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure, or prevent any diseases. I just have to throw that out there. So I think Nancy is now going to go into our first use.
Yes. Okay, so I am really glad to be here with you guys this evening to share the benefits of these oils with you. They've become an integral part of my life very quickly. I use them every day. And that starts in the morning in the shower in order to wake up. And it's all the way through to when I go to bed at night and I diffuse it to help me sleep. You can use them many ways. If you didn't see Selma's presentation earlier about how to create a toxin-free home and use them in the garden, you may want to check that out because she gave a lot of good information and it's posted on their YouTube site. But inspired by her, I've started using them more in my house and they work really well. It's not like a lesser way to clean. They actually clean better for me than a lot of the chemical products out there. And you can use them in the garden to combat pesticides and bacteria. And that's not even to mention the way that we use them to protect our health and improve our health and deal with different health conditions that we have. And I've also now started using them with my pets. Unfortunately, we just found out that my Great Dane has cancer. And the vet said that he wouldn't recommend the treatment protocol that he had because of her age. And so I came home and I was like, you know, I can't just sit here and not do anything to help her. So I found a cancer protocol online and I started using that with her a few weeks ago. And she's really acting as though she feels a lot better. Her appetite has really returned. And she's outside playing with our younger dogs, the Pyrenees again. And so I think it's helping. And I don't know how everything's going to work out, but it makes me feel as though we're providing her with the best quality of life that we can. And that's what I love about these oils. They're empowering. They help you manage your health and make your life the way you want it to be. And so we can't cover all the ways that you can use the oils here tonight, but what we are going to cover is the way that they can help you this winter and make you feel a lot better and make your life more present. So tonight we're going to cover how you can use them for respiratory support, immune support, how they can help you stay hydrated, and how you can use them to help manage your mood and stress during the winter. And I wanted to tell you real quick, for those of you that did get the samples, there's anywhere between 20 and 40 drops in each one of those bottles. And the number of drops depends on the thickness of the oil. We're only going to use 1 or 2 drops tonight when we do this demonstration, so you're going to have a lot left. We've included several recipes in here. So I just wanted to let you know that as we go through this, you might want to think about how you would like to use your remaining oil and what recipes you would like to try. So we're going to go on now and just start in with respiratory support. And you can see from this slide, you have a lot of options to choose from in the oils to help you improve your respiration during the winter. I just want to mention one, eucalyptus, because that's one a lot of people use, and it has an effect similar to peppermint. Every oil has its own constituents and will provide you with different benefits, but some of them are really similar. But one thing I found out since I've been doing this, I didn't realize before, is that a lot of people are actually allergic to eucalyptus. So if there's something like that, you are going to have an alternative. And our alternative this evening is peppermint oil. So the peppermint plant packs a powerful punch, and that's because of the menthol that's inside of it. These oils are very pure. And you may notice that the samples you're going to use tonight are stronger than samples you may have had before. So keeping that in mind, I want to tell you a couple of things. You want to be very careful that you don't rub your eyes when you have the oils on your hands, or that you don't get your hands too close to your eyes when you're using the oil. It really isn't going to hurt you. but it has an effect that's similar, like when you cut an onion and those volatile aromatics are released and they make your eyes tear. Peppermint's never made my eyes tear, but it will make you want to close your eyes, and it can be a real distraction. You don't have to worry. It'll dissipate within a few minutes and you're just fine. But if you find that it really bothers you, you can use a carrier oil, like Linda mentioned, olive oil, even vegetable oil, whatever you have in the house, and rub it in that area, and that will dilute the oil and lessen the effect for you. What you don't want to do is try and wash it off with water, because water won't remove it and it will spread it around and actually make the situation worse. So just keep that in mind. I think pretty much everybody that's used these oils has had that happen to them. You just forget about it. But I hope that doesn't happen to anybody this evening. So if you'll get your sample bottle of peppermint out, we're going to start with that. And I would like you to put just one drop in the palm of your hand, and you're only going to need one drop for what we're going to do this evening. And once you get that drop in your hand, you rub your hands together to spread it around a little bit. And then you're going to bring your hands up closer to your face. You might want to close your eyes because you can feel the effect this way, just having them close to your face too. And you breathe in through your nose. And you just want to take 3 or 4 good deep breaths. And as you do that, you'll begin to feel the effect of the menthol. You'll feel the cooling sensation. And if you've got a lot of sinus congestion, I can actually feel it crackling sometimes when it starts breaking all that up for me. Okay, and then the next thing you can do is take your thumb and rub it on the palm with the oil. Get a little bit of oil on your thumb. And then you can place it on the roof of your mouth and rub just a little bit. It'll transfer the oil pretty quickly. And this is another more direct way to open up your sinuses. And it has the added benefit of giving you really fresh breath too. And once you do that, I don't want to go too fast. I want to give everybody time, but I can't see you, so I don't know where we are. Another way that you can use it that works if your lungs are really congested is you want to make an open fist. You make a loose fist with an opening right here. And then you put one hand behind the other. And what you're going to do is just breathe in really sharply. You do a like that. And when you do that, that takes the menthol directly into your lungs, and it'll help you start breathing a lot easier pretty quickly. And then the last thing we're going to do to make sure we make every bit of that use of that oil that we can is you can rub the back of your neck with it and just give yourself a little massage. And you might want to go up to where your skull meets your cervical vertebrae because you have sinus cavities back in that area as well. And a lot of times when you have a sinus headache, I used to, when I had them, it would be back in this area as well. It just aches kind of. So if you rub that in, that will help that area. And then after about 30 seconds to a minute, you'll start noticing another effect of peppermint, which is a cooling on the skin. It feels kind of refreshing. And it can also help soothe these muscles back here and help them relax. So now, congratulations, you've just given yourself a full respiratory treatment. There are other things you can do. A lot of times we massage oils on the chest so that they can be absorbed more into the lung area as well. So how's everybody doing? Are we okay? Are we alert and awake and ready to go? Because peppermint will also tend to perk you up and make you more alert. All right. Now, there are a lot of other ways you can use peppermint oil to help yourself out in the winter. You can put it on the back of your shower before you take a shower, and the steam will actually pick up that oil. And when you breathe the steam in, then you're getting another dose of the peppermint. And this is what I talked about, what I do in the morning. It also helps wake you up, and it'll give you a little caffeine-free boost to get started with your day. And you can also put it in the bottom of your shower. Some people like to do that and have the water dissipate it, and your feet will absorb it really well. And you'll get a different effect from the oil that way. But just make sure that you're in the shower before you put the oil in, because sometimes it can make the bottom slippery, and we don't want anybody to slip and fall. And then the last way involves taking it internally. 1 drop of this peppermint oil is said to be the equivalent of 28 cups of peppermint tea. So I don't know about you guys, but when I'm not feeling well, I am not going to drink 28 cups of tea. It's hard enough for me to get chicken noodle soup in. So one way you can get a really good benefit is to take whatever tea you have. It can be a black tea or an herbal tea, and you just put 1 drop of the oil in it, and you can stir it up. Now that's going to give you a very strong flavor of the peppermint. And what surprised me about it is there is no sweetness to this peppermint. I was always used to my peppermint being sweet. You know, I'd had it in candy, or I'd had peppermint teas, and they usually add a sweetener to it. So if you want to tone it down a little bit and get that flavor that you're used to, you can add honey in, and then you'll get the benefit of the honey as well. So I'm going now to the sinus steamer. If you're really having a problem, if you have a sinus infection, or you're just really congested, we're giving you a recipe here for, it's called a sinus steamer. And a lot of people have already done this. They're used to doing this, and they've used dried herbs or fresh herbs, or even just steam alone. But when you put the peppermint into hot water, you're going to get that benefit of the steam as well. The one thing I wanted to tell you is you want to add the oil to the water when it's steaming. You don't want to add it to the boiling water, because the heat from the boiling water is actually going to cause the oil to break down, and it won't give you as good of effect. And you can choose whichever oil. You can choose just peppermint, or you can mix it with like oregano and tea tree and lemon. Those oils have their own properties. And a lot of times when you use essential oils, there's a synergistic effect. They say that the sum is greater than the parts. And so if you are using these other oils with it, you have a really good chance of clearing up a sinus infection. I used to have sinus problems a lot for most of my life. And I really noticed that when I use these oils, it clears things up really quickly. But I want to note too, that when you make the tent with a towel, in order to get the steam effect, please close your eyes again for the same reason I've mentioned before. You just don't want to have any problem with that. And if you really feel bad and you don't feel like boiling the water and getting the boil out and going through all that, you can just put a drop of the peppermint oil in a mug of hot water. The tea you made earlier that I mentioned earlier, just stick hot water in the microwave and put the oil in when it comes out. And you can inhale the steam when you do that as well, and it'll work for you.
Nancy,
I
have a question.
Okay.
So when you were speaking about how 1 drop is pretty potent for a cup of tea, I've heard that you can, and I've done this before, but maybe a suggestion, and maybe you've heard it, maybe you've not, but taking a clean toothpick and sticking it in the stopper of the bottle and just swirling the toothpick around in your tea. It's way less than a drop, but that's the only way to get like less than a drop out of the bottle. Is that something that you would recommend?
Yes, and thank you for adding that, Selma. I meant to mention it tonight, but I forgot. That is a very good way to do it. Because when you put the toothpick in the oil, you just wait for a few minutes and that wood will absorb the oil up. And then you stir it into the tea, use the toothpick to stir the tea. So yes, thank you. I had forgotten to mention that. Okay,
Thank you, Nancy.
sure. All right, well, now I'm going to turn it back over to Linda, and she's going to talk to you about how you can support your immune system.
Okay. So one of the biggest things about winter is the health aspect. And here are some oils that are great to help with that. And clove, frankincense, lavender, lemon, oregano, rosemary, and tea tree are some of the most popular. If you got a sample from us, we included an immunity blend, and it will either be labeled IB for immunity blend or on guard, depending on which one of us sent it to you. Most companies have their own type of immunity blend, or you can make your own. And you can use any single oil here, or you can use a combination of them. They do work synergistically, as Nancy said. The one that was in the sample contains wild orange peel, clove bud, cinnamon bark, eucalyptus leaf, and eucalyptus leaf is actually safe to ingest, whereas eucalyptus oil is not usually recommended. So there is a difference with that. So this blend does contain eucalyptus leaf. So it is safe to ingest. It has rosemary leaf and flower essential oils in them. And the combination supports healthy immune and respiratory functions when used internally. And you can ingest it to support the body's natural antioxidant defenses. Remember that FDA disclaimer I mentioned earlier? This is where that would apply. The oils can be used in all three ways to support your immune system. And I like to run a combination in a diffuser. It also helps to cleanse the air. And I also use them to create my own cleaning products. So it makes your house smell great, and it does add the benefits, the cleansing benefits as well. One thing I like to do when I feel real rundown is I will put a drop of the immunity blend, or I'll do like a oregano and rosemary, mix it with some fractionated coconut oil. That's the liquid coconut oil. You can use the solid if you want to. It will melt in your hand with the heat of your hand. And I put that on my feet before I go to bed. Just rub it in. If you want to put socks on, that helps it absorb even better. And wake up in the morning and you'll be feeling a little better. And if you're feeling really, really bad, you can actually put these in a veggie cap. There is a good blend of, it's frankincense, lemon, the immunity blend, oregano, and tea tree oil. And you put those, one drop of each of those in a little veggie cap and add coconut oil to top it off. And you can drink that with lots of water. And that helps your immune system kick into gear.
Linda, we have a question from Els.
Okay.
And talking about making your cleaning solutions, she asks, how much oil do you put in your cleaning solution?
So I have a spray bottle. I'm not sure the size of it. It's probably about a little smaller than my water bottle here. It's a little mister, and I probably do about 25 drops and then fill it with, I just use purified water and shake it up and mist it on my counters and use that.
Okay, thank you.
And you can experiment with that.
Right. And then Elizabeth wants to know, what is a veggie cap?
Oh, a veggie cap is, they sell them in most health food stores. They're just the little gelatin cap. You can also get vegetarian ones, and they pop apart. They look like little capsules, and they pop apart, and you put the drops inside of there.
And you close it back, and then
you pop it back, and it just looks like a little capsule.
It's like a like a medicine capsule.
Yeah, it looks just like a little medicine capsule. I unfortunately don't have one sitting here next to me. But there, if you Google veggie cap, you should be able to find it. And I know a lot of the health food stores do have it.
and this just in, Maya says that the Fredericksburg Food Co-op will sell veggie cups.
Yay.
Yay. Thank you.
Sure. On the next slide, we have a immune boosting foot rub that you can make. And it's half a cup of coconut oil, and that's the solid kind, slightly softened. You can mix in 6 drops of frankincense, 2 drops of cinnamon, 4 drops of clove, 4 drops of oregano, and 4 drops of peppermint. And you can use oils interchangeably. If you don't like the smell of clove, for instance, you can leave that out and substitute it for something else, or just leave it out. You can experiment and see what you like. So you would melt that coconut oil. You can melt it in a microwave, or you can melt it in a double boiler, or on top of the stove. Just stir it up until it's all melted. And once it's kind of started congealing, you can add your oils to it and gently stir it. You pour it into a small jar and let it cool, and then apply to the soles of the feet at bedtime. And you can, as I said before, you can add socks for added absorption. And it'll make your feet real smooth as well. So I think we have one more recipe here, and it is for a mask spray. So that is fantastic right now. Not only does this help cleanse your mask, it also makes it smell really good. So that is 10 drops of lemon, 10 drops of tea tree, or you may see it listed as melaleuca as well. 10 drops of peppermint, 10 drops of rosemary. And you can add those to a 2-ounce spray bottle, top it off with water, and shake to mix. So, and oils will rise to the top of water, so you do want to give them a good shake when you're gonna, right before you spray it. You would spray your mask between each use and just hang them up to dry. If you want it to be extra powerful, you can substitute the water for alcohol. You can do that as well. You can also use that as a quick hand spray as well.
Linda, I have a really important question here.
Okay.
From Linda. Is there any concern with essential oil use causing adverse reactions with prescription medications?
So that is always a good thing to check with your physician about. There is some literature that you can find. The most common thing is people that are on blood thinners. You don't want to use wintergreen. I think it's birch, and there's a few others. But I can get back to you with a more detailed answer on that. But you always do want to check with your doctor if you're on, different prescriptions, just to make sure.
Thank you.
And I can answer that more specifically.
Right.
If you want to contact me offline. So that's all I have for the immunity portion. And we're gonna go on to hydration. And for this, it's how to help you get your water intake up, and also for dry skin. So most popular oils for this are frankincense, geranium, grapefruit, helichrysum, lavender, lemon, myrrh, and Roman chamomile. And these are just the most popular. There are many, many others. So these are just the ones we picked to talk about tonight. So these oils can be used to help any time of year. It doesn't just have to be wintertime. I know my water intake is fairly low, so I'm always trying different ways to help myself drink water. And one of those is to, as I mentioned before, put a drop or two of oil in my little water bottle. And again, you want to use glass or stainless steel or porcelain. You can use like a coffee mug, because they will degrade the plastic, and nobody wants to be drinking that. I like to use lemon and grapefruit. They're my favorite. One of the added benefits if you ingest lemon is that it actually creates more alkalinity in your body. And a lot of the nasty things out there that can cause you to feel unwell don't like to live in an alkaline environment. So increasing, of course, increasing your water take helps also fight immunity as well. But it definitely will help fight off any of those nasties. One thing that you can also do is make a honey lemon detox drink. And that you can do by adding a tablespoon of honey, or as much as you want, and a drop of lemon to a cup of hot water, and pretty much the same way as Nancy mentioned earlier with the tea. Stir it all up and enjoy. Both the honey and the lemon will add their own benefits, and it will taste great. One other way to increase humidity in your home, increase hydration, and help with the dry skin is to use an essential oil safe humidifier. It's a bit different than just a regular diffusers. Diffusers don't add all that much moisture to the air, but they do make some essential oil safe humidifiers. And that will just boost the moisture level in your house and make it smell really, really good. So another way is you can help take care of your skin, as I mentioned. And that's always a big problem for me this time of year, especially with all the extra hand washing that we're doing now. I like to use frankincense, lavender, myrrh, Roman chamomile, really good relaxing ones. And we're going to give you a little dry skin blend on the next screen. So this is our little dry skin lotion. And this one's really cool because you actually whip it up so it's light and fluffy. And you also can add vitamin E oil to this to increase benefits. So you can see the ingredients listed there. And you would just, again, melt the coconut oil, add the vitamin E oil and stir. So you would put it into a freezer, the mixing bowl. If you're using a metal mixing bowl, put that in the freezer for 15 or 20 minutes. And then you want to take it out and beat it on high for about 3 minutes. It's going to get cloudy and kind of fluffy looking. So you want to add your essential oils and continue mixing it. And so that's going to make a real nice, fluffy, real smooth cream that feels really good on your skin. So you can store that in an airtight jar in a cool place. The fractionated coconut oil will melt at, I think it's about 76 degrees. So just keep that in mind. You can store it in your refrigerator, especially, well, in the summertime, you would store it in your refrigerator. In the wintertime, you shouldn't have any problem with that. But it's a really good lotion for your skin. So I think you've probably noticed I'm mentioning several oils over and over again, and that's because they're so versatile. And that's one of the great things. Frankincense is probably my go-to for just about everything. I would probably add frankincense to this dry skin lotion just because I love it so much. And if you're putting together an emergency kit, frankincense and helichrysum would probably be absolute musts, especially for helping with any type of skin issue. And like I said before, if you don't like lavender or peppermint, you can substitute them out and experiment and see what you like best.
Linda,
So,
may I interrupt and ask you just a few more questions?
Sure.
One question, let's see. There's a lot here. Let's see. When you're making the mask spray or any other recipe, what type of water would you use?
If your household tap water is fairly good, you can use that. I actually use reverse osmosis water at my house because my water here is pretty bad. I would probably recommend distilled water or RO water, just because I know if you're on well water here, it may not be the best. If you're using, if you're on city water, I would think you would be fine to use just regular city water. Just, you don't want to, you want to check it. If you leave it in that bottle for a month, you know, just make sure it's good. The essential oils should inhibit any growth, but just check it. Or you can add just a little bit of alcohol to that, and that will clear up any of that problem.
Okay, thank you. And there's another question. Let's see. The mask spray. Are oils safe around pets?
So yes, you got to remember pet systems are different than ours, especially cats. Their liver does not process several of the essential oils the same way ours does. So things like tea tree, you have to be careful with. There is a fantastic vet on Facebook, Dr. Janet Rourke, and she gives some fantastic advice on pets and safety. I use it with my animals. You got to remember their sense of smell is much better than ours, so you want to use it very diluted. So I would suggest, if you do want to use it on your pets, use them directly on your pets, to consult a good reference book or talk to one of us. We can help you with that. If you're just diffusing, just make sure that the animal has an exit. If you leave the door open and the cat or dog does not like the smell, they'll move out of the room. You don't want to trap any animal in a room, you know, a small room with a diffuser. You know, their sense of smell is much stronger than ours. So you always want to give them an out. I use all oils in my house, and I haven't had a problem. I have cats and dogs and fish, and I haven't had any problem. I've used them on my pets as well. So just, I always recommend do your research on things. There's some really good reference books out there, and Nancy and I can help you with that. Yeah, just do your research on yourself as well. You want to know what you're putting in your body. So researching them and getting good literature is the best thing.
Okay, and one more for now. Camille is asking, will essential oils have an impact on your teeth? She said, when I was putting lemon juice, a tablespoon, in my water, I noticed a sensitivity. And she's curious if, I don't know why it keeps going away here.
So the lemon oil is actually made from the rind of the lemon. That's where it's distilled some. So it doesn't have the acidity as regular lemon juice. I have not had any problem, and I haven't heard of anybody having any problem with oil, lemon oil in their teeth, you know, doing anything to the enamel. So I think, yeah, I think you're safe. I think it depends on, you know, the difference is that you're drinking the lemon juice and not the oil from the skin.
Okay, thank you.
Are we ready to
move on?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay.
Nancy is going to cover mood support.
Yes, I think we all need a little help from time to time, because we've all been under so much stress this year with COVID, or last year and this year so far with COVID, and having to stay at home more, the economic fallout, the political shenanigans. All of that can stress us. Even oftentimes we're not aware of how much, but I think a lot of people are aware of the effect that chronic stress can have on your health. It can hurt you in a lot of different ways, physically and emotionally. And in addition to that, a lot of people experience what we call the winter blues. in the winter. It's clinically known as seasonal affective disorder. And they believe that's caused because there's such a reduction in sunlight. Both the sun itself or the angle we're at the sun, it's not as intense. We spend more time indoors and it gets darker faster. So if you couple that with having to stay home with COVID and all, you're just indoors a lot more. And a lot of people are suffering it with depression and trying to stay positive and get what they want to get done. So a lot of these oils can improve your mood. And one of them, you'll see again a list, one of them, bergamot. I particularly love Earl Grey tea. And if you've got a good Earl Grey tea, it's going to be black tea and the bergamot essential oil in it. Now, I drink this in the morning to help pep me up. It's like my coffee. But if you look up bergamot, it's going to say that it has a calming and sedative effect on you. And I'm just mentioning this because a lot of times when you use oils, they don't work for one person the same way they do another. Or it may have like that. It has an effect on you that's not going to be found in the books and all. And this is one of the reasons that we always say, go slow, do one drop at a time, less is more. And just see how an oil works for you before you start using it regularly, or just think that it's going to be the same way for every person. It isn't. It depends on what your body is like, and it even depends on your personal preference. So I just wanted to mention that to you before we started talking about lavender, because lavender is another oil that can really calm you down and relieve stress. But it's kind of ironic. It will calm you down, but it also lifts your mood and kind of helps you feel more positive. Our lavender comes from Bulgaria and France, and it is exceptionally pure. And I'm sorry, if you have had different lavenders in the past and you use them and they give you a headache, I understand completely, because that's what happened to me. When I first started using essential oils and I used lavender, I really didn't like it because it always gave me a headache and I didn't like the smell at all. But since I've been using the pure lavender, it's a really different experience for me. I love the smell, and it helps me out a great deal in calming down. And what I've found out about that is the chances are I was using a synthetic oil before. Even though I bought the oil and it said organic, natural, and pure on the bottle, everything that we looked for, there was some reason that it was affecting me that way, and the pure oils don't. And I suspect it's because being a synthetic oil, it comes from petroleum distillates. When they process crude oil into petroleum, there's a lot of byproducts that are produced, and companies want to use that to make money. And the petroleum distillates are easy to manipulate into a different kind of chemical compound. So if you have an oil broker and he's looking to make, or he or she, I don't mean to be sexist, is looking to make a little bit of extra money, they can buy those petroleum distillates, manipulate them, and make them smell like lavender, except there's no linalool in there, which is the active ingredient in lavender. So you're going to get the smell, but you're not going to get the health benefit of it. So I just want to say, if you're ever having a problem with an oil, you really might want to check your sourcing, because you can't detect synthetics in the oils. You can't, and a lot of companies can't either. The only way that that can be detected is if they do a carbon dating on the oil itself. And you can imagine how expensive that is. And there's a lot of companies that just don't have access to that, or the resources or the expertise to do it. When they carbon date a synthetic oil, it'll come back as millions of years old. And that's because it's picking up on the petroleum. And naturally, an oil made from a fresh plant is not going to date millions of years old. So just be aware and understand that sometimes the least expensive oil is not the best. These companies go through a great deal to test these oils, and that's figured into the cost of it when you're using them. Now, we've used a lot of we've used peppermint tonight, and it should have time to dissipate. But I'd like you, when we test out this lavender, to put 1 drop on the back of your hand. And then you can just rub the back of your hands together like this. And that will allow you to get the other benefit of lavender, which is conditioning your skin. It's very good for your skin. And I'm trying to figure out what I can say legally. It will help your skin regenerate and look better. And one of the things that I found out just last Christmas about lavender, I heard this story. And the story is that the lavender plant never had any smell at all until Mary used it to wash Jesus. And once that happened, that the plant then forever smelled like Mary. And that, you know, it's very cleansing and clean and soft aroma. So they associated that with Mary. And when you get into essential oils, you'll start hearing a lot of stories like that. And the reason that they're there is because people have been using these for thousands of years, and they didn't have the understanding that we have now. They wanted to attribute those benefits to something, and they attributed them to what they knew. But we're really fortunate right now because we can tell you the exact chemical profile of what everything is in that oil and what it's going to do to your body. So we're in a better situation to use these oils now. So lavender can be used many ways. Just what you did right now, just doing that and smelling it, it will make you feel better. I put some on your packages, and I'm sorry if it was too strong. Rich told me it had permeated his gloves and he could still smell it, but he did say it made him feel good. So I'm hoping everybody was okay with it. You can use these in your bath. And that's one of my favorite ways to use them to help deal with stress and to help me relax. And you can just keep it really simple. You can get in, you know, once your tub is full of water, you can put 3 or 4 drops of oil in there and you're going to get the benefit. Or you can also add it to Epsom salts, 1 cup of Epsom salts, and stir it up and throw that in the bath. Very simple things to do. But one thing that kids like is the fizzing bath bombs. And this can really help a child, you know, calm down in the evening and make the shift to get ready to go to bed. So we put this in here. It's a little bit, there's a couple of things I wanted to tell you. First, you're going to mix your dry ingredients together separately in a bowl, the Epsom salts, the baking soda, and the cornstarch. And then you're going to mix your liquid ingredients together in another bowl. The carrier oil of your choice. It can be olive oil, hemp oil, sesame oil, whatever you like, with a little bit of water, and then your essential oils. You can use just lavender if you want, or we've given you a couple of recipes down here at the bottom of blends you might want to consider. And then once you have your liquid and your dry, you take the liquid and you pour it just a little bit of time into the dry mix. You don't want to dump all the liquid in top of the dry at one time because it's going to clump up and it's hard to work with. But once you've added the liquid into the dry mix slowly, then you're going to take your hands and knead that. And what you're trying to get is a wet sand consistency. So it might be a little bit dry, and that's why we included the spray bottle with water, because you can spritz it and just add a little bit at a time. You want to go at it that way because you don't want the mixture too wet, because what you want to be able to do is take out a little bit and you can roll it in your hand and make a ball with it. Or you can also, a lot of people like to use molds and make these as gifts for people. You can use a candy mold, a soap mold, or well, there was another mold I thought of that it escapes me. But you can use whatever mold you have at the house that you want to use. Now, if you do use a mold, you just let it sit in there for about an hour or two until it's dry a little bit and when it can be removed. But you want to let these sit overnight and dry completely. Once that's done, you can put them in an airtight container so that you preserve the aromatic of it. And you can use them, give them as gifts, whatever you want. So if you're not a bath person, you can also make a bath oil. Again, this is an easy thing to do. You just take 2 tablespoons of the oil of your choice, and then you add your essential oil to it. This recipe here is just going to be like for 1 or 2 uses. So you don't have to worry about what kind of oil you're going to use as much as if you want to make a big batch that you want to store or give as gift. Because you have to be careful. If you're going to make a larger batch, we would recommend that you use fractionated coconut oil, because oils will go rancid really quickly, unfortunately. And coconut oil will not ever go rancid because it's a natural source of antibacterials. And the fractionated coconut oil will never solidify on you. So it's a good option if that's what you want to do. The other thing is, if you don't want to use fractionated coconut oil, you can use what oil you want, but you're going to add about, a few drops of vitamin E oil in there in order to make sure that it preserves it for you and it doesn't go rancid.
Nancy, if I could interject here, it looks like we're running a little overtime. It's 8:01.
No.
Are you all okay with a few more minutes?
Well, of course I am, if everybody else is. There's just one more slide real quickly, and I don't even have to, we're giving you diffuser blend recipes. And the only thing I want to say about that is kind of what Linda said, is make sure your diffuser, they will sell it either as medical grade, or they will say when you buy it that this diffuser is good for essential oils. And you want to make sure that plastic doesn't degrade and you're shooting plastic into the air. So sorry about that. We just wanted to let you know, if you had any questions, even after tonight's over, or you would like to try some samples, this is Linda and I's contact information. Okay.
Linda and Nancy, this has been amazing. I feel amazing. I'm still feeling the peppermint on the back of my neck.
Are you?
I just, again, I want to thank you for all of the effort that you went to put this presentation together. The comments are just flowing in here, and very much enjoyed by everyone. I did take a list of a few people who did not receive their samples, but we have referred everyone all along the way to that last slide.
Okay.
Maybe we can, hopefully everybody got that information, but if not, you can refer to our YouTube presentation to watch the recording. And I think if you have any additional questions or additional concerns, particularly with pharmaceutical interactions with essential oils and the ones that are safe for pets, please contact Nancy or Linda before you use any. Everyone is thanking you very, very much here. Rosemary said she rubbed the lavender on her pillow.
Oh, yeah.
Great, thank you so much. So Nancy and Linda are more than happy to help you. If you didn't receive the samples that you requested before the February 1st, and even if it's after, they would love to speak with you. So thank you everyone for coming. Again, thank you Nancy and Linda, and hope everyone has a great night. Sleep well with that lavender. So.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Nancy, Linda, Selma, you guys did a great job. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
take
you very
care.
much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.